doing something a little bit different. If you've been on a mindset training with me before, I normally have a PowerPoint presentation, and it's very much so like you're in class for a second. But today, no PowerPoint presentation. There are some things that have been like heavy on my mind and heavy on my heart, and I'm super excited to just talk from the heart today and connect with you guys and share with you something that somebody needs to hear. I don't know who it is. I've got some notes on my phone here. Where are they? And we're going to dive in. All right, I'm going to pull this down to make sure in case I need to let anybody else in. And you guys are more than welcome to talk to me in the chat. I have that open. Or if you have anything to say, you can also come off mute. This will be more of an open conversation. But okay, here we go. I'm going to take a sip so I don't get cotton mouth. We're going to dive in. So you guys, today, instead of the normal PowerPoint presentation, I really just wanted to talk to you guys from the heart about something that was like a light bulb moment for me that made me feel like I had cracked the code to life. Okay. So this was probably like 2 or 3 days ago. I was reading this book. It's called The Science of Getting Rich. 10 out of 10 recommended for anybody, but especially for entrepreneurs. 10 out of 10 get recommended. And while I was reading it, something clicked for me. And if you are dealing with insecurities right now, if you are dealing with doubt, if you are dealing with lacking confidence in a certain aspect of your life or in yourself as a whole, I want to present an idea to you that may help you move through that a little bit easier. There's a good chance, I'd even go as far to say that there's a 99% chance that you aren't insecure, you're just inactive. Okay. And follow me. You aren't insecure, you're just inactive. Confidence, though we've been taught it is a feeling, confidence is a muscle. All right. Confidence is something that you can exercise. And just as the saying goes, when you don't use it, you lose it. So when we're finding ourselves feeling insecure, lacking confidence to show up and do something, there's a good chance it's because we've been inactive in that thing. Whether it's something that we used to do and we stopped doing, so now we've lost confidence in it, or it's something that we haven't done before, so we've never been active in it, so we haven't built confidence in it, right? Because confidence is also situational. Just because you have confidence in one area does not mean you're going to have confidence in another area. But insecurity is not a sign that something is wrong with you. It's not a sign that, you need to get your confidence up before you get active. Confidence, action precedes confidence, right? It's a muscle that you have to build. And when you don't exercise that muscle, you lose confidence in whatever it is that you're doing. And that is the root of insecurity. Something that has always bothered me, but especially for the last couple of years, is that what I consider natural law. Okay. And when I say natural law, I mean like the laws of nature, the laws of the human body, the laws of our brains, the way that like life and things work. We're not taught about those things. And how that relates to this insecure conversation is that our brains are wired for something called homeostasis. And if you've never heard the word homeostasis before, it literally means our brains are wired to do the same things repeatedly because that's what we've decided is safe. Our brain is just a muscle with wires and firing neurons that conducts life for us if we're not aware of how our brain works. And the way our brain works is repetitive. We want to repeat things that we've done before because we know that we can do them, quote unquote, safely. Whether that is a good thing or a bad thing, it is deemed safe when it's been done repeatedly and we're still alive after, right? So when you are inactive in a thing, when you are insecure in something that you want to do, right? And you haven't been doing it for a while, or you've never done it, your brain triggers these feelings of insecurity because it wants to stop you from doing something that it thinks is unsafe. And when we fall into those feelings instead of rising above into what we know, then that insecure feeling takes root and we find ourselves reacting to that insecurity instead of being proactive and building confidence in place of that insecurity. So if you're dealing with any type of insecurity, if you're dealing with any type of doubt, I encourage you to ask yourself, have I been active in this? And if you haven't been active, then your insecurity and your doubt has no foundation to stand on. Your insecurity and your doubt is solely your brain saying, I'm afraid to do something different. I'm afraid to do something new because it may or may not be dangerous. And you, as a beautiful thinking human being with all of the power of life that's within you, you can make a decision to go over that feeling and act anyway. Okay. There's something that I want to read to you from this book that I was reading this morning, The Science of Getting Rich. This trilogy also has The Science of Being Great in it. And something that it talks about a lot is that we deem anything that is incomplete as evil. Like that's the way that our society has decided. It says that which is undeveloped or incomplete often appears to us as evil because of the way that we have trained ourselves to think. The root of a bulb which shall produce a white lily is an unsightly thing. One might look upon it with disgust, but how foolish we should be to condemn the bulb for its appearance when we know the lily is within it. The root is perfect after its kind. It is a perfect but incomplete lily, and so we must learn to look upon ourselves and our outward. We must learn to look upon ourselves, no matter how unlovely in outward manifestation, as perfect beings, as perfect in our stage of being and becoming complete. Okay, so when it comes to insecurity and when it comes to confidence, that first step that we have to take, action precedes confidence, a lot of times we don't take it because we look at it as ugly. We're comparing ourselves to other people and it's not as good as those other people, or it's not as good as we want it to be. And we've decided that the little bulb, the seed that we're planting in the ground is too ugly to sprout something beautiful. And as the book just showed us, how foolish of us is it to be to deem this activity, to deem this one moment, to deem this ugly manifestation as a failure or as bad or as something to cause insecurity within us, when it is literally the starting point, the beginning and the root system of what you're creating and what you're blooming. So when you feel yourself coming into insecurity and being stopped by that insecurity, I want you to remind yourself that you aren't truly insecure. You're just inactive. And the way to overcome that insecurity and to move into confidence is to take action. No matter how messy that action may be, choosing to have faith that that action is taking you to where you want to go, right? But that also involves that you know where it is that you want to go. And this comes to my second thing, because that acting with that faith, it's easy to say, but it's not so easy in doing all the time, right? You can say, I can tell you until I'm blue in the face that, yeah, okay, the TikTok may be cringy or the ad may not be the best ad in the world, but post it anyway and have faith that it's going, but you're looking at it with your eyes and you're perceiving, but this isn't the best and I know it can be better. So how do you build that faith, and how do you have faith in that action when it's something that you can't see? And I give you almost kind of similar to confidence isn't a feeling, it's a muscle. Faith is less about believing and it's more about knowing. And though it starts with belief, the core of faith is what you know. All right. And what you know is between you and your God. All right. If you are religious in whatever aspect that you are religious, how does that religion define human beingness? What is the goodness? What is the power? Right? If you aren't religious and you're just spiritual and you're it's the universe that you're looking at, or it's science that you're looking at, whatever it is, you have to know the greatness that is within you, and how you figure that out and how you know that is 110% up to you. I have seen people that have found that by knowing that they are a child of God. They know that to their core. So no matter what it may look like in an individual moment, no matter what their outward circumstance may show to them, what they may perceive with their eyes, they know that they are a child of God. So that action, that manifestation is moving them towards their completion, right? It's perfect where it is. For me, it's I know that the same life force that raises the sun every single morning, that life force is inside of me. It's a part of me. So any action that I take, no matter how messy or what I may perceive it as in the moment, I know that it's backed by that life force. And that's where my faith lies. Faith isn't just about, believing what you can't see and telling yourself something over and over again, or having your head in the clouds. There are many moments where I go into action and there are thoughts of doubt and there are thoughts of, ooh, this is going to be cringy. Even coming into this mindset call, it's like, oh gosh, I don't have a PowerPoint. Okay. God is just asking me to speak from like my heart, but is that going to be enough? Da, da, da. But the faith that I have comes in the knowing of what I just told you. The life energy that raises the sun is inside of me. And that's what I bring forth into this moment. No matter what my eyes may perceive, I trust that knowing, and that knowledge is what I build my faith upon. So when it comes to building the faith so that you can be active in building your confidence, remember, this all comes back to there's a 99% chance you aren't insecure, you're just being inactive. Right? And the way to build confidence, because it is a muscle, not a feeling, is to get active. Action always precedes confidence. And the way to move past that moment where it feels like, oh, this is ugly, this isn't good enough, this isn't X, Y, and Z, is to have faith that that step is a perfect part of the completion of where you're going. And the way to build that faith is to have a knowingness about yourself, of who you are, whatever that is rooted in for you. If that's rooted in being a child of God, if that's rooted in a universal power within you, if that's rooted in your last name and the bloodline and the genes that you got, whatever that is rooted in for you, you have to know the power to access the faith, because the thoughts that we have are only activated by our faith in them, right? And this brings me to my next point. Anyone that has used manifestation, or not manifestation, anyone that has used meditation or affirmation and felt like it wasn't working, or you use manifestation or meditation and affirmation and it worked for a while and then it felt like it stopped working. I'm going to tell you exactly why and what happened. And I can tell you this because I did this, okay, for years. There are a lot of us that will affirm ourselves or meditate in very specific pockets of time, right? Maybe we wake up and we say affirmations during the day. Maybe we meditate, at night. Maybe we do our prayers in the morning, whatever it is. We do these at specific pockets of time, right? But here's what you're doing when you do that. And if any of you grew up in church, or maybe you go to church now, you're going to get this reference. And if you don't worry, I'll explain it after. When you do that, and then you go on about your day-to-day tasks, driving, working, doing whatever, with negative self-talk inside your head, you are now a Sunday-only Christian. Do you guys remember those Christians that only go to church on Sunday, holier than thou, and then Monday through Saturday, it's a shit show. We came to church hungover from being out Saturday night, and then we're going into work Monday morning to cuss somebody out. But that Sunday, we're holier than thou, and we think that that's going to move something in our lives, and it doesn't. That's what happens when we decide to meditate for these little pockets of time and then move on and have day-to-day life thinking, oh, I'm broke. All right. You can't have a manifestation or a meditation or affirmation, or even go and pray to God about riches and money and abundance, and then go sit down at your job, or go sit down to work on your business, or go sit down to launch an ad and constantly be thinking, I'm broke. This isn't good enough. This won't do this. Oh my gosh. You have to, there's a consecration of your thoughts. Okay. It's about, she said, ma'am, chill. Listen, I feel you. I had to have the illest come to Jesus meeting with myself this week, because it was a moment and a culmination. You guys, I have been on this manifestation, this affirmation, this self-discovery journey for almost a decade. All right. And there have been so many times where I've looked up and been like, why aren't you a billionaire yet? What are you doing? What's wrong with you? And that's why the reason anything that you have not received yet in life, any prayer that has gone unanswered, it's because that prayer does not exist within you outside of the moment that you're praying for it, outside of the moment that you're affirming it, outside of the moment that you're meditating on it. And if it does not exist outside of that moment, then there is no power in that moment. Okay? The only reason that any meditation, any manifestation, any religion, any medicine, anything that works in our lives, it's because we believe that it works. We have faith that it works. Okay? There are people, I'm going to use the most plain example. Okay? There are people, we all have had a pain in our lives, an elbow, a headache, a stomach ache, something, right? But there are certain people that can take natural medicine and whoo, good to go. I feel better. There are certain people, absolutely not. Give me the drugs. I need the narcotics. And that only comes down, and it works for both of them, right? That does not mean that one is good and one is bad. It means that two different people had faith in a different tool to be used. Meditation, affirmation, prayer, going to church, any of that, those are tools, you guys. And the biggest mistake I see a lot of people make is putting the power in the tool. That tool has no power. You are the power. Your faith and your belief in that tool is the power. I'm a person that I love numerology. I love seeing numbers. I love seeing 111, 777. It signifies to me, okay, I'm headed in the right direction. But to somebody else, y'all can see 1111 all day and it won't mean a goddamn thing in the world to you. Because you have no faith. The power isn't in the number. The power is in my faith and that putting my mindset on thoughts that are going to create the world that I want to have, the life and the experience that I want to have, right? So I'm going to circle it back. This all started at overcoming insecurity. There's a 99% chance that if you are feeling insecure, it's not because you are lacking any type of power. It's not because you are actually insecure. It's because you are inactive. And the way to build confidence is to become active because action precedes confidence, right? But that action requires faith because that action may not look pretty to your eyes in the moment. So how do you have faith in something that may not look the best in the moment? You go on what you know, not what you see. And the way to affirm and consecrate what you know in your mind is to take those prayers, those meditations, those affirmations, and put it into every day. When I'm washing my dishes, it's a conversation with God. When I'm taking a shower, it's a conversation with God. While I'm talking to you guys, it's a conversation with God. It is me impressing upon the power that is within me, what I'm manifesting for life next. Okay. And then that's going to bring me to, is this the final or the second to the final? Okay. And then that's going to bring me to my final. All right. All of that leads us to, this is all very simple because you guys are getting this, right? I can see it in the chats. It's clicking. It's like, oh, yes. All right. When you hear the truth, you know it, right? But knowing better isn't doing better. So how do we do better? And for me, this is how I'm currently doing better. I'm constantly reminding myself of two things. One, instant gratification weakens the mind. And two, 50 Cent said, the only thing that I have to fear in life is a weak mind. Instant gratification weakens the mind. And the only thing I have to fear in life is a weak mind. Now, does that mean instant gratification is a bad thing? Absolutely not. Instant gratification is a great thing. What it means is that if you only move based on instant gratification, you are going to have a weak mind, point blank, period. There's no other way to say it. If you can only move when you are instantly gratified by what you see in front of you in the 3D, you will have a weak mind that will not be able to build the confidence to have the great life that you dream of when you're sitting down to meditate, when you go sit and talk to God. You have to learn to be okay with delayed gratification because faith is also a muscle. It's something that you exercise. And without the opportunities, without you taking the time to exercise the faith to do something, whether or not you see the immediate results, to hold a vision when everything in front of you, see something else. True faith is in what you cannot see. So if you want to have a strong mind, if you want to live a great life, if you want to have a strong faith, you have to be okay with delayed gratification. You have to know how to move when there is a delayed gratification. A constant desire for instant gratification is going to weaken your mind. And when you have a weak mind, you can only attempt small things. And when you only attempt small things, you can only access a little amount of power, right? Another one of the natural laws that I wish was taught in a widespread, like on a regular, normal basis, is that you will only ever have the amount of power for what you attempt to do. If you only ever attempt to do small things, you will only ever have access to a little amount of power. It requires you attempting to do great things to access and realize that you have a great power within you. Okay? Insecurity because you don't have the knowledge yet, not valid. Get into action. Action precedes confidence, and power is provided when you attempt great things, right? Insecurity because you don't have the resources, not an excuse. Action precedes confidence. And there's a difference between attracting and receiving. All right. That just banged me in the head, took me a different route, but clearly it's where we need to go. There's a difference between attracting and receiving. Here's the natural law. We are all attracting 24/7. Okay. You cannot live as a human being without attracting. Our thoughts create reality. In any religion, in any thought of life, in any philosophy that you look at, you will find that string of truth. And one thing that I learned from somebody that was getting their doctorate in theology, not in theology, in history, was that the way to the truth is to read as many different things as you can and find the things that are the same. And one thing that is the same is that our thoughts and the way that we think create our reality. Okay, so attraction isn't something that we have to work at. That's natural. It's going to happen no matter what. And everything that you have right now, you've attracted. Attraction doesn't know positive or negative. It just knows these are the thoughts that you're having. So I'm going to go into motion to create these forms and bring this to you. But receiving is a totally different thing. So when you are changing what you're attracting, whether that is through prayer, that is through meditation, that is through affirmation, whatever it is that you are changing your thought to change what you're attracting. You may attract that thing to you, but if you don't have the action piece, the confidence piece, the moving piece, you're not in the receptive mode to receive it. Okay, you can attract money all day long. You can attract all the customers. You can put an ad out there that attracts all of your ideal customers, the people that are holding your $1 million right now. But if you are not moving in confidence, in faith, in that knowingness inside of you, you will not be ready to close the deal. Something's going to happen. You're going to have a day where you don't show up and you miss the call, or the domino effect will happen from your thoughts that now push that attraction away from you. So we've got to understand that attracting and receiving are two completely different things. When you are attracting, you're living. There's no trying to do that. We are all attracting. We are all manifesting 100% of the time. But when you are deliberately choosing to attract something and choosing to manifest something, receiving that is a totally different experience. You have to be in action, in motion, be the type of individual that can receive that thing. And that starts with how you think about yourself, how you think about what you're doing, how you think about the world and other people. Okay. And this is the last thing I'm going to close it out with, because a lot of insecurity for some of us is rooted in the fact that we look at the world poorly. You cannot be a confident and secure person when you look at the world negatively. If every time you get on social media, you're angry at this, you hate that, you are done with people, you think the world is shit, you think society should be better, you think the government's a piece of trash, you're not going to have any confidence in yourself. Why? Because whether you realize it or not, all of this is an extension of you. So when you're speaking those things, you are speaking about yourself. So you can't then go back and have confidence in yourself. The best thing that you can do is choose to see everything as perfect right where it is. It may not be complete. It may be an underdeveloped power, but that doesn't make it evil. That doesn't make it wrong. That gives it space to develop. And the best thing that you can do if you want to see more development and betterness in the world is to develop yourself. Michael Jackson taught us that a long time ago. What is the man in the mirror? These are all things that we know, but it's the action of these things that we have to choose to do. Free will is a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing, period. I was going to say when you choose, but it's a beautiful thing. But that choice is the difference between life happening to me and me choosing the life that I experience. And me personally, with all of the beautiful things that are out here, I want to choose the life that I experience because I let life happen to me and I didn't like it that much. So I'm going to go over here and I'm going to choose the experiences that I have. But that starts with me moving past my insecurity by taking action that is backed in faith, that is built upon what I know, that is practiced every single day, even in the mundane day-to-day actions that I'm taking. And that's all I have for you guys today. I truly wanted to take today to speak from the heart. I love that this was such a small, intimate group. If anybody has questions, my conversations with myself daily, if anybody has questions, comments, concerns, if you have any thoughts that came up that you want to give to the conversation to make this a collaborative experience, I would love your feedback. Feel free to come off mute. I love seeing your face. Hello, beautiful skin, beautiful smile. But standing ovation, God used you today. Says, thank you. Listen, hold on. So before I let anyone speak, I just need you to know that even in that statement, God just used you to affirm me. And that is one of my favorite things about life, that anything that we desire in life, someone else has a matching desire that's going to give that to us. Because you saying that to me, all I want in life is to be used by God. I want people to look at me and be like, nah, God's real. Like, even if I don't feel it myself, I know, I look at you and the life that you're living and experiences that you're having. You know, when I was growing up, people used to say, when my feet hit the ground, I want the devil to be scared. When my feet hit the ground, I want God to be excited. Fuck the devil. I want God to be like, yes, she's up. We're going to do some cool shit today. That's what I want to feel. And I want people to see that. And I want people to see that so that they can get up and do that and be like, oh shit, we can do really cool shit today. So that I went a little left, but you saying that to me, like affirm that to me. And it's like, all right, bet I'm moving in the right direction. And thank you so much. Yes, speak, come off mute.
Hello. I was just changing my name.
Oh, wait. Hold on. I can't hear you. Hold on. My speaker. Okay, boom, I'm ready.
Okay, got it. Yes, great message today. Thank you. I just wanted to say, because this is definitely something I talk about a lot, and I just had this conversation. I love that Stephanie said conversations with myself. I honestly have never heard anyone else say that, and that's something I say all the time. So that's confirmation that this, whole group is here just aligned. But also, it's something I've been having conversations with myself and others about how integrity plays a role in faith and motivation and and action taking. And it's so amazing to me because it's so obvious, like I feel like what did they say? Say what you mean what you say, be what you're about. Mm-hmm. Like we hear these things, but we live in a world where people are so consistently and so unconsciously doing what they're not about. Even something as simple as like turning their eye at someone because they wear white shoes after Labor Day, but then the next day they're going to wear white shoes themselves. And we don't understand how important of a role that plays in our own self-belief, which then affects our ability to take action because we don't believe that we are the people that are going to be able to do it because we're not even the person that can not wear white shoes after Labor Day. And that's our whole mindset and our whole subconscious and our whole, not even subconscious, our conscious that is alert.
Mhm. Mhm.
So I just wanted to comment on that because I've just been having this conversation recently, and I'm realizing how important of a role it is, just that honesty.
That no, I absolutely love that you brought up the integrity aspect of it. Again, I'm obsessed with this book right now, so I'm going to keep going back to it. But what it talks about in The Science of Being Great is that the sign of a great man or woman is not just the desire to do good. It is the energy and the action to do well in a moment, even when the feeling and even when the circumstance would give you every excuse to do something other than what is the right thing to do, and that integrity comes back to an awareness. I think what happens is that a lot of people live on autopilot, an unconscious autopilot without recognizing it. So there's this cognitive dissonance that happens where I think that I mean what I say and I say what I mean, but I'm so unaware of myself. And this goes back to my natural law conversation that should be taught in like schools and like how we think and how we live our lives, because that lack of awareness is what makes it hard to have that integrity. And I'm not going to lie, you guys, coming into that awareness, it's difficult. Like it's very simple, but it's not an easy road. And it's something that you have to commit to. And it's something that you have to commit to every second of every day. It's almost like something that I love, and this is probably going to sound a little bit weird, but something that I love about alcoholics that are recovered. So like alcoholics that like go to AA and have like 26 years sober and all these different things, they'll always tell you, I'm not a recovered alcoholic. Like I'm an alcoholic. There's no other way to say it. Whether I've had a drink in the past 26 years, I'm an alcoholic. And my awareness of that every second of every day is what allows me to build the habits. And it's that lack of awareness that we have. Like, who am I? I know that naturally, if I'm not paying attention to what I'm doing, I can get real lazy. And I'm talking like extra, I'm a Leo. I'm talking like, let the sun hit my window just the right way. I'm done for the whole day. I'm laid out. But having that awareness allows me to know how to hold myself accountable and to build systems into my life. Yes, you have to parent yourself. So one thing about me, I am 2 to 4 years old on any good day. All right. That's about as high as my age goes. I am a whole ass toddler. And I know that about myself. And I parent myself and I make sure the people close to me in life are aware, hey, I'm a child. Okay. So you need to deal with me as such, because if I get hungry, the tantrums might get to going. If I get excited, it might get a little loud in here. Like there's a lot going on. Okay. So Stephanie, first of all, Stephanie, this felt like mindset church. I just took a screenshot of that. I literally almost busted out into tears when you said that. That just made my whole freaking so fluffy. I'm so happy. Okay. To answer your question, how can we do better about affirming throughout the day instead of just during our morning routine? So this is going to come down to awareness. And I like to say like having check-ins with yourself. So something that I started doing is I started with little things. The first thing I do after my morning routine or after I meditate in the morning is wash my dishes. So I try to think about while I'm washing my dishes to have that thought and keep that thought. And every action as I'm going to the next thing, I try to take that thought with me. And it's not always perfect. I definitely lose it sometimes. But that's the first step. I try to take like, all right, after I get up from my meditation, I know the next thing that I'm doing, whether I take one mantra and it's that, I am great, I am a child of God, or I am whatever. I take one thing that I know that I can pull this and I can focus in an instant. And that's what I focus on while I'm washing dishes. And if I catch myself going into a negative thought, I come back to that mantra or that affirmation. And then the second thing is being aware. You got to start checking yourself when you get into those negative thoughts. One thing that really helped me was recognizing that I'm not my thoughts and my emotions. I am like the power, the life force that's within me controls my thoughts and my emotions and can choose to react to my thoughts and my emotions. But I am not my thoughts and my emotions. So just because I have a negative thought or a negative emotion, that does not mean that I am automatically in a negative space. That doesn't mean I'm automatically in a negative mood. That doesn't mean I'm automatically attracting and manifesting something negative and the whole world. It doesn't mean that. I just need to be aware of that thought and to be like, that's not a thought that I like. I need to choose something different. and focus my brain in that moment. And even if it's just for 5 seconds, the beautiful thing about thought is that thought like attracts like, and one thought's going to lead to the next thought, right? So if I catch that negative thought and give it a positive thought, that positive thought's going to lead to another positive thought, lead to another positive thought, that leads to another positive thought, right? But if I don't catch that negative thought, then that negative thought's going to lead to another negative thought, negative thought, negative thought. So twofold kind of answer to bring it into summation about being better about using your affirmations throughout your day-to-day life instead of just during your morning routines is one, that first action or that first activity you're going into out of your meditation, take an affirmation, take a meditation, take some sort of thought with you into that activity, and then try to practice that moving into each next activity. And then second, be aware of your thoughts. Start training yourself to notice, hey, that's a negative thought and I'm going in the wrong direction. What's an affirmation I can say right here, right now? You don't have to stop and sit down and meditate and have to look in the mirror and do all of this stuff when you're meditating. You can literally be driving or having a conversation with someone. I do, maybe she's sitting right here, so this is gonna be funny when she hears this, but I do this with my girlfriend all the time, where we'll be having a conversation or something and I catch myself going in a negative thought about something that she's saying, and I choose in that moment to look at her and find an attractive thought. It doesn't mean, oh, I'm having a negative thought, I need to stop and go sit down and meditate and close my, it doesn't take all that, right? You can literally just shift your focus in that moment. And then the last thing I would say, and this is something that I've held for years, see God in all or don't see God at all. That lives rent-free in my head all the time. See God in all or don't see God at all. And see me, I refuse to not see God. That sounds like an absolutely horrifying life. So when I think about that and I find myself in moments, I'm going to find God in this moment somewhere, somehow, even if all I remember I was Uber driving one day and y'all, they had me at this restaurant. I promise you, it was like 45 minutes. And if you've ever Ubered, you know that like you're cutting into my time. Like, this is my money. And you have me standing here waiting for somebody's food. And in that moment, it was like, it literally clicked. See God in all or don't see God at all. And I looked around the room and I found something pretty on the wall. I was like, oh, that's a cute picture. Okay, I really like that. And that's it. It's that simple. You don't have to make it this big thing. The beautiful thing about faith and confidence, it's in the simple things, right? It's in the fact that when you walk outside and you feel the sun on your skin, you like the way it feels. That's God. That's beautiful. That's anything that feels good, that brings you joy. Just dial into that the best that you can throughout your day. And then my last thing, even though I said the other thing was the last thing, this is like my for real last thing, is creating space, like starting to almost glorify your joy. Make your joy important. The more that you make your joy important, like attracts like. The more that you make your joy important, the more that you make time for things that feel good. And this can start small, guys. Even if that means, okay, after I meditate in the morning, that's something that I have to do. I give myself 5 minutes to dance to my favorite song or to jump up and down on my bed, like whatever, something that makes you make silly faces in the mirror, do something cool with your kids, paint a picture, whatever it is that like makes you happy or makes you smile. Start building that into your life in 5-minute increments. And then your brain is going to start attracting more of that. It's going to start desiring more of that. And then you're going to find yourself setting boundaries with certain things because you're like, I know what joy feels like. And I know I can move towards that. This is moving me away from joy. I'm going to move towards what I want. Okay. So yeah, that's all I have for you today. I will leave you guys with this thought. We are all creatures of habit. Okay. There is no way to get around the fact that we are creatures of habit. The beautiful thing is we get to choose those habits. And the biggest mistake I see when people are choosing or changing their habits is they forget that they need to replace or they need to fill the space. When you are breaking a bad habit, how did the book put it? If you kick the devil out, but don't invite God in, the devil's going to come back with his friends and worse. Okay. So when you're breaking a bad habit or you're changing something in your life, you need to make sure you fill it with something. Okay. So this takes you from the energy of running away from something and puts you in the energy of running towards something. And that energy shift will do wonders for your ability to stick to the habit that you're creating. Okay, so run towards what it is that you want to create, not away from anything that you don't want. Anything that you don't want will fall away from you if you continue to run towards what you want. So see God in all, or don't see God at all. I know that today you guys are going to see God more than you've ever seen God before, however God presents God to you. And then from every day forward, it will continue to get bigger and brighter and more and more and more of God. And I absolutely love that for you guys. I love that for me, and I'm super excited for all of us. I think next month we're going to talk about habits. I think that's going to be a great topic to stack on top of this. We're going to talk about the natural law of habits, how it works inside of the body. We're going to talk about how to break bad habits, how to build new habits, and the science and the system behind it. I'm telling you guys, when you walk away from this, you're going to be like, oh, all right, bet I got it. Like, I literally put this system into play about 30 days ago. I have made a TikTok every single day, made my bed up every single day, read a book every single day, been up at 5 a.m. every single day for about 45 days now from doing this practice. So next month, we're going to talk about habits. But I love you guys. Thank you for being here with me. Thank you for all of the energy and chatting with me in the chat. I am